Hello and good evening, everyone. Good to see you, and welcome to this stream. It's been a full time, it's been a good time, but I'm glad to have a Friday where I can greet you all, get some more work done, and I'll have another round at this thing called vectoring. Now, let's see here. Over in the chat, I see Hedgehog is still saying waiting on the Silver-Quill. You might need to hit a refresh, but hey, you can't hear me as I say this if you haven't refreshed. Good gravy. What a paradox. What a paradox. And let's see here. I'm just making sure I remember the right things. There we go. Making sure I hit all the correct buttons. So, let's give greetings out there. I see Oleg Studios. Sadly, Ender Pup can't join us because of college work. So, Ender, if you watch this after the stream and it's, waiting on YouTube or Twitch, good luck with this college work. I remember that, not always fondly, but it's a good thing to do. Also, hello, Fetch26291 and Hedgehog and Sweetie Bloom. She lives. Actually, she does more than just live. She helps a lot of people. She's been very active looking out for others, but also, I hope, looking out for herself. Hey. And let's see. Hello, Komodo Steel and the Miner. And Cosmonia Inspira. Good to see you. Trinario is on hand and glad for it. Let's see. Jude 3300 and Preston Cox. And let's see. Hallie Hope. Welcome, and Champ to stay. Oh, you'll be listening to the stream while washing dishes for a decent part. It will probably be a while before you ask a question. It's okay. I know you've got a lot on your plate. There we go. I always forget to turn the sound back up on that. Ah, well. Excellent. And Nexus Galaxy, and hello, Prism Shard. And Safi, Anime Christie in the chat, good to see you. Thanks for visiting the old man. Also over on Twitch, we have Helsing Ghost, Cherry Fluff Belly, and Chris. Hello, Chris. Partycore Nick. I'm doing well this evening. Oh, and Chris wondering, have I eaten? I had a very good lunch. I will have a nice dinner after this stream, but I'm doing just fine. Oh, I got more people coming in with proper booze of my pun. Excellent. Well, now you see I have full control, and now I can dish it out. Also, I see a Prism Shard, Inky Lynx, Pokemon Fire Eevee, Evangelion 007, Prince Crimson Rain 1199, Hayden Hana and Synchree. Welcome to you all. Also to the new lunar religion. Hard to get that properly structured. And Godzilla and 91. Good to see you. So the new lunar religion. Oi, I'm going to be practicing that for a few weeks. And Sweetie Bloom is correct. I'm usually reliable for having meals except at conventions when even I don't know what I'll be doing for food. Anyway, let's get a little music so I don't sound like I'm completely disappearing. Oh, 117 War Spartan and Noah Harris, hello. Also hello to Thaddeus Risher, Lady S. Knight. Oh, the new lunar religion is worshipping Nightmare Moon. Intriguing. Now, personally, I would go more for Princess Luna, as Nightmare Moon is just a moon shadow. Alrighty. Disappearing like my puns, Keldo studies? Never. My puns will never disappear. They're lodged in your brain. Alrighty, folks. It's time to get back to what was lost. Some of you may remember a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to draw this, what do they call these? A Pidgey? No, that's Pokemon. Either way, these are birds from the Sonic franchise. Unfortunately, while saving, this is the bitter part, while saving, it crashed, and it's called a Flicky. So it crashed, and I lost everything. But the saving grace is that I was streaming at the time. Ergo, this Flicky you see right here in very low resolution. That's a screenshot of my own work. So I'm a vectoring with myself, vectoring with myself. Yeah, I'll leave the music to iTunes. And this gives me a chance to maybe look at my work a little bit later and realize, what was I thinking? I feel like you seem to have more pronounced cheeks. But that's part of the fun. Tell you all a story from when I was young. I was working on a story on a computer late at night. I'm grateful to my parents that they didn't mind the sound of constant tapping on the keyboard from my dad's study. But I was all set. It was time to call it a night. I hit quit. I hit yes. And I realized that it was asking, did you want to quit without saving? So that was it for that part of the story. I redid it, and I think it was better the second time around because you kind of have the structure in your head better, so you can make changes, but at the same time, you realize you're like, I should have done that. I feel quite silly now. Oh, we have more folks over on Twitch. Cool Striker 64. And Frostbite 1995. Oh, Frostbite, tomorrow will be your birthday. Happy birthday in advance. And Cool Striker, my week goes well. It's been quite an active one, which is part of why I'm doing solo tonight. Sometimes I just need, I need my distance. And I also don't want to neglect. How shall I put it? First off, Halloween, tons of fun. Getting to go to a block party and having my friends over for food both before and after the block party. Speaking of said block party, there's this park nearby where 2 blocks are occupied by houses going all out. I mean all out on Halloween decorations. You've got skeletons, you've got lightning, you've got zombies in electrified cages, you've got holograms of ghosts and windows. And let's see, what else? I mentioned dragons. There was a Jack Skellington. Animatronics. Sorry, Cosmo and Spira. I dressed as a normal person. That is the greatest fiction I can imagine. So, nothing as exceptional as what other people had on. Light-up costumes were the big thing this year. I mean, like, full LED lights right up and down. And in some ways, that's really smart. I mean, that's how you make sure everyone gets seen and drivers can be a little bit more careful. At the same time, I'm like, my eyes. You know what? Small price if it keeps people safe. Yes. In totally no relation to modern times, I'm just saying minor inconveniences that help protect lives are easy to bear. I don't know what I could be referring to. Anywho. So, but after that, and after the mad rush to get my home clean, I am now unpacking my study, which is where I stored a lot of the stuff that I wasn't quite sure where else to go, and I'm beginning a sorting process. But that was slightly delayed as I also, let's see how to put this, Wednesday, went to go see the original Godzilla movie in 4K at the Alamo Draft House, but a fair distance from where I live. I then went to my friend's home, where I had met them at the movie, spent the night because I got them to the airport Thursday morning, and had to contend with the fact that there was unfortunately a rollover crash, which required some hasty navigation reorganization. Mostly I hope that people from the rollover are okay. And then that same night, went to go see Dune with some work buds. So, it's been a demanding but good week. And now I get to hang with you folks and see how much better I can do about saving. See? It says saving. I just saved. Yes, Kirsten C., I believe that the Alamo is amazing. I think it's my favorite theater. Just one, all the work that people do, and it's just a very good environment. People are very not rigid, but they're serious about creating an enjoyable experience. So there's no cell phones flashing, There's no distractions, even when you're ordering food. And they let me open a tab. And as I got there before my other friends, I got to put their names under the tab. And you all will learn this about me eventually. I like to troll with a tab. I troll with kindness. So everyone's like, Silver! Or, call me by my real name, which I'm sure most of you already know, but I'm going to try to be secret because I'm Batman. Yes. Sweetie Bloom also saw Doom. We were texting about it today and sharing some of our favorite moments, but she was forbidden from work because everyone wants her to be nice and healthy. So everyone, please repeat after me in the chat. We want you to feel well, sweetie, because we care about you. Yes, I'm going to wait for those to be seen because I need Sweetie Bloom to hear this. I need her to hear this because this too is my way of trolling through kindness. I mean, can you imagine anyone complaining about this? They'd be all like, oh, Silver-Quill was generous with me. Why are you complaining? Because he's such a jerk. Because he's generous? Yes. And that is how I troll. It's next level. SVs are going to complain to the management. Wait, I worked with the management by opening a tab. Crimson Rain, thank you for your support. Oh, but there's a message. My favorite 40k faction. That would be, well, I suppose I would have to, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The Tau say they're about the greater good, but I've heard arguments of how that is twisted, and boy, that's an easy thing to pervert. I would have to say that right now my favorite faction is not necessarily the Imperium, but groups within the Imperium, like the Salamanders. Anybody who will defend the innocent and those who can't fight back in a truly terrifying battle arena, they're aces in my book. But the Imperium got bigger issues there. What is it? A theocracy that claims it's not, and is actually better at killing itself than the beings that are attacking it. Imperium's got a long way to go. Of course, the greatest antagonist is Games Workshop themselves for their very poor PR choices lately, including fighting their own fans. That just ain't right. Inquisitor 751. I'm sure the Inquisition wants to know. Well, I will just vox them one message. Neener, neener, neener. Of course, my favorite Warhammer is the Emperor's speech-to-text device. And that's on indefinite hiatus, which is unfortunate. But it did a lot of good to celebrate the Warhammer franchise, but also to have some fun with it. And if you cannot laugh at yourself and the fandoms of which you are a part, well, I worry that the internet will not be kind to you, nor will life. Said the guy who talks about pastel-colored horses. See? It's okay to laugh. Man, these folks go on for a while. It's like, geez, people, even I got over the joke. Though, I will say, I've always found it fascinating how Warhammer and Pony are almost opposite end extremes. Pony, nothing is truly solved by violence, and one could argue that mercy is overemphasized. Warhammer, nobody gets along, and violence is the only solution, and, well, they're killing each other. And I know that people will want to say, well, Warhammer, they at least protect the populace better than Celestia. I'd point out that the Emperor's policies have killed just as many as they've saved, and at the end of the day, you still wound up with a ruler who's basically sitting mostly dead on a throne. So honestly, I feel like all it is a lesson in balance. Too much mercy and you end up with a princess suspended by a changeling cocoon. Too little mercy and you end up with this corpse emperor. So let's aim for that median point. That happy little medium. Comedy Quill Preston. That's a good name. Maybe a bit too flattering. Let's see here. Oh, great. Crimson Rain, you're probably right. If they tracked my communication to a planet and they just be like, okay, well, exterminate on everybody. But then they find out that I was really voxing through a vox. I'm on a whole other planet. I could probably wipe out a system through the Inquisition. I shouldn't be excited by that idea, but here we are. And with such upbeat music for it. Let's see here, Kirsten. Other obscure videos. Well, truth be told, I'd love to revisit Brave Star at some point. What are some other ones? Honestly, there are obscure 90s. No one really talks about Exo Squad. Even though that was really well done science fiction and war drama. And let's see here. What was another? Mighty Max. A show that really actually did a better job tackling the Chosen One trope than I think people would give credit. Namely that being the Chosen One does not always mean you're instantly good at something. Usually it means your entire life is upended and you spend time wrestling with the idea you have no control over your own fate. That's heavy. Magical Dude. Exo Squad. EXO Squad. It was a science fiction series that ran for about 2 seasons. In this future setting, humanity has colonized Venus and Mars and has basically is enjoying a golden age of expansion. Only problem is that a very tragic part of human history is that the most celebrated civilizations always seem to be built on the labor of an oppressed group. And it's true in Exo Squad, for they've created a genetic race of, well, meant to serve humanity. They're called Neo-Sapiens. 7-foot blue-skinned beings with 4 fingers and toes. Extremely powerful. Physically built to endure harsh work environments, but given no rights. And as such, surprising no one, the Neo-Sapiens have not one but 2 rebellions. First ends in failure. Second, however, conquers human world. And the Exo Fleet is the only liberating force left to oppose the new empire. Now, the vehicles of this series were not planes or any conventional tank. They were called exoframes, E-frames for short. Basically, it's a humanoid device that you wear like a expanded power suit. Plugs directly into your brain. Oh, welcome Jasper Flair. I'm just recounting some old 90s stuff. So, I've given a very broad topic, but Exo Squad dealt with a lot of questions about what it meant to be human, what must a soldier do. There was a Neo-Sapien pilot, the best of all. His name was Thrax. And he flew a blood-red E-frame. He was a Shar Aznable from Gundam homage before I even knew about Gundam. And I always loved this guy because at one point he's tasked with detonating bombs that would kill everyone in a structure. And he's just about to turn the key and he stops. He's just like, no. And he goes back to his commanding officer, who's properly furious at being defied. And Thrax just says to him, look, even in war, there are some things a soldier must not do. And it's by very slim grace that he makes it through that encounter. But that was a greater moral diversity than I see in a lot of shows. Again, keep in mind, I grew up on stuff like G.I. Joe, where good and evil were very clean cut. And then you get into the cartoons of the 90s, and they start tweaking the morality. Let's see here. Cherry Fluff Belly, I will check out your channel because I want to seize a surprise. And Renamon565, good to see you. Also the Big Ben 1. Christmas in Tattertown, Big Ben. Was that an Exo Squad? All right, Safi, good to see you. Have a wonderful evening. Preston, I would battle Count Dooku if I could have, like, 20 lightsabers and the personal shielding from Dune. I think I would need them. Though Dooku, I might just mess with him. Hey, do you know how relevant you are to this series? Haha! Even the Emperor called you just a proton torpedo. One shot and forget about it. Trinary, always trying to spoil me. Oh, Kamodra. Kamodra is quoting Broadway from Gargoyles. Oddly enough, I was just watching SF Debris' review of that episode where Broadway accidentally shoots Elisa. He's playing with a gun and it goes off. And it was actually a very strong warning to kids because it's not moralizing anything. Actually, it's not trying to lecture from a moral standpoint. It shows consequence. And yet, while it was initially praised by parental groups, I believe it's been censored by Disney for the violence. Oh, welcome Zelda fan 6284. So I truly don't understand the mentality behind that. I don't see how you can warn people about dangerous consequences unless, well, you show those consequences. And Broadway is, well, usually he's sort of the goofy comic relief character. He's also very lovable in his earnestness. To see him grieving for what he's done to Elisa and taking it out on a robber who's sporting a new weapon, you can see the anger and pain, even as he's roaring at this crook. And it's powerful stuff. I mean, Gargoyles was a step ahead. I know that most of the 90s praise I hear goes to Batman the Animated Series, which is fully deserved. But at the same time, I feel Gargoyles, which was an entirely new intellectual property, really deserves even greater celebration than it receives right now for all it did. Even the odd redemption of Xanatos, who was not a good guy for a while. And even then remains a little morally dubious. I mean, let's give credit where it's due, right? Welcome, Lady Almathea, also known as Nomodoris Gallardo. Oh, Ranchhog, Lightning Bliss did see my artwork and she joined in the fun, had a good laugh. I appreciate that she can laugh along with these, because again, if you're not able to laugh at yourself, oh, things will be hard. At the same time, I'm also grateful that fans don't take it too far. I've had to put the kibosh on a few jokes because folks took it too far. So that was a lot of fun, though. And congratulations to Lightning Bliss and Fiora the Tank Girl, both confirmed as community guests for HarmonyCon. So I'm glad that they'll be there. Let's see here. David. Oh dear, forgive me as I'm about to mispronounce this name. Pescatelli. I think I got that. David Pescatelli. What's my experience with the Sonic series? Do I have? I played Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 was on the Game Gear, which is not quite the same experience. And then there's Sonic 3. But it wasn't until Sonic Adventure that I really felt like Sonic was more of a real character. And then I discovered Sonic Sat AM. And subsequently the Archie comics. I'd say it now, I think Sonic Sat AM was the strongest showing. That is my personal favorite, and I will always kind of regret that Archie Comics, due to legal brouhaha, lost a lot of the characters and therefore left a lot of stories unfinished. It's a bitter feeling. But at the same time, legality is legality. I believe they've rebooted now, but for me, when I think Sonic, I think of the Saturday morning cartoon. I did love Sonic Adventure. Still remember that final fight against Chaos. And playing through wondering when I would get to see that powerful looking Chaos. I haven't been as up to date on the more recent Sonic games. I know Sonic Mania earned a lot of praise from people, but it's harder now. Sonic really works best as a 2D game, but sometimes Sega keeps trying to force the issue. Honestly, how shall I put it? I feel like there needs to be another sort of gaming renaissance in the 2D single-player world. Because right now it's more a dark age of subscriptions, passes, and online play. It doesn't give games as much of a chance for exploration. Let's see here. Christine? I don't think I've seen the 1984. Christina, John Carpenter novel. I think you got it. Oh wait, isn't that Carrie? I'm thinking of Carrie. Misty Phantom, I'm doing well. So yeah, I'm just enjoying. I am working on things. Many things abound. Oh, and you know what I'm doing right now? I'm saving. Because I feel like, yes, I finally reclaimed the ground I lost when this bird flew the coop the first time. But let's see here. William. I haven't tried Neverwinter on Steam yet. Mostly because I keep saying I need to get a gaming laptop. My friends play a lot of PC-only things, and well, I sold my soul to Apple. But before you say, that's your mistake, I will point out that Mac is actually more interactive between the two platforms. It's willing to work with you. But PC, they want to punish you. They won't read your hard drives. They won't share files. I can do that with my Mac. So it's like I can transfer stuff to my friends from my friend's piece. I can read stuff off my friends' media drives if they need, but they can't read off mine. It's a little hard when we're like sharing projects, or they recently helped me with some green screening, which I will attempt to show. Well, it's not for one of my projects. That's the only thing. I'm a tease. Let's see here. That's a pretty hard fall off, and maybe too extreme a contrast there. I mean, this is meant to be just a light shadow, not a, oh my god, he's close to darkness. I'm Bat Flicky. Hey Sonic, do you know why I beat you? 'Cause I'm Bat Flicky. I've also been having watched the Injustice animated movie, which I really didn't enjoy. There's also, I've watched some interactions of Injustice, the video game. I gotta say, I'm getting tired of Batman being assumed to be morally righteous by default. He's actually contributes more to the problem by not confronting his own damages. I mean, from what I could tell, a big thing in Injustice is that when Superman really needed a friend, Batman couldn't be there for him. And Wonder Woman, for reasons I don't fully understand, she encouraged Superman to become more of a dictator. And this is Wonder Woman. I mean, Wonder Woman is awesome. I don't know if I've ever learned why the alternate Wonder Woman took up this policy, because it seems so not her. Anyway. Should Meat Canyon make an animated parody of me? Well, the Big Ben one, I always assumed I was more a parody of myself. I mean, I see people sometimes make parodies of various things. Although, here's the big question. If you're making a parody of someone online, and you have like the bigger subscriber base or a great channel, you're essentially punching down. And as Terry Pratchett put it, satire is meant to be directed at the powerful. If you're punching down, you're just bullying. So in that way, I'm not sure. I'm a small fry on the YouTube scene. So I don't know if I'm worth parodying at this point. Now, if somehow I swell to 10 bajillion subscribers and I really need to get more videos out if I ever want to see something like that happen, then we'll revisit whether I'll be parodied. Let's see here. Trinary throws a thought in the ring. Injustice also has the idea that the instant a superhero wants to change the status quo, they all immediately become total villains, with us being do not mess with the status quo. Well, I guess there's a question. I don't know of a lot of times where superheroes were allowed to explore what they do. I'll give you a fun example, though. The new Avengers. When Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, and Luke Cage joined up with Iron Man and Captain America. Luke Cage had an idea. So the Avengers would go to a part of New York and stand at a street corner. It didn't matter what was going on. If there was... Well, I mean, it did matter if there was like graffiti artists whom Spider-Man stopped. There were people trying to case joints, which Luke Cage stared down. The idea was, rather than only tackle big problems, superheroes would just go to a street corner and stand there. And suddenly there was a little bit more freedom of movement. Now, people could rightly criticize, hey, you guys aren't just cops on a beat, you are in many ways tactical weapons. Wouldn't leave an A-bomb on a street corner and tell everyone to behave. But at the same time, it is them being proactive in trying to get some level of care. So that could be an interesting argument, even a fun issue. A day on a street corner. What does the superhero witness? Preston, I would absolutely have tea with Fluttershy. No question. Cherry Fluff, you're gonna watch the MLP New Generation. I've had a few viewings, and there are critiques that are very valid. There are critiques that I think are prioritizing the wrong things. I don't want to give too much away, especially if you haven't seen it yet, but just know it's a mix. I think it's safe to say it's a mixed experience. But it does leave me interested and hopefully optimistic for the new season, which we will get next year. Which when I say that, oh, next year, that's 2 months away. Not even 2 months, really. But time keeps on slipping into the future. And I probably would get a copyright strike if I kept going. Also, I can kind of picture Seal just his head snapping up. Someone's doing a bad job singing my song. His Seal sense is tingling. There we go. Little light for the flicky. How would I compare it to the other MLP movies, David? Oh, Pescatelli. By the way, again, apologies if I'm saying your name wrong. Here's the thing. I enjoyed it more than the G4 movie. And I enjoyed the G4 movie more than the original My Little Pony of the 80s movie. So there's an upward trend, which is how I think a franchise should go. But I also recognize that the G5 movie has a little bit more freedom. It's able to introduce its main cast and allow a chance to get to know them directly. G4, its movie had a different kind of struggle. They wanted to bring in a lot of star power with guest actors. So you also establish your main cast for parents in the audience who might not know this so well, and they're going to be there. And you also have to introduce this other cast. So G4 had a lot on its plate. G5 movie has a little bit more ease with which to introduce everything. At the same time, I thought they did things really well. I'll be interested to hear folks' views on the lead heroine, as I think there's a lot of discussion. If I ever Keyring is wondering if I've ever read a story of My Little Pony, Godzilla MLP crossover. I have not. And I have a hard time picturing Godzilla in Equestria, partly because Fluttershy would probably get him on board pretty easy. But getting to see the original Godzilla in a theater again, it's certainly not my first time seeing it, but one of the big things about the Godzilla movies was how they represented Japan itself. It was not a classic, it was showing a modernized Japan, which I don't think the rest of the world fully understood at the time, and may yet. So while seeing Godzilla in Equestria is a fun idea, I don't know if it really gets to the heart of what Godzilla is. Just as Shin Godzilla, which, funny enough, is not about his shins, showed an even more modern view of Japan, including critiques of how its bureaucracy operates. And because I know someone in the chat will say it, yes, I know that Shin is Japanese for true, but let me have my bodily humor. Come on, I tweeted out earlier this week about a volcanic outcropping called Ball's Pyramid. I will giggle, and I will cue the laughter when I say Ball's Pyramid. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by how people taper off in that laughter track. I mean, it's sort of like after a while, it's kind of like Dr. Evil and his crew having evil laughter, and then they just sort of stops like, woo! Okay, back to work. But let's see here. There was a question about King Ghidorah. Ah, yes, Godzilla91, wondering what my favorite version of King Ghidorah is, who's had a very mixed history. Ghidorah is often villainous, a destroyer. Even when he's being controlled by evil aliens and some of the campier Godzillas, he's not a figure to whom you feel sympathy. He's a monster in the truest sense of the word. But then there are also Godzilla movies where he is a defender spirit, or a mecha Ghidorah who's cybernetic and piloted to protect Japan. There was the most recent Godzilla, where he is an alternate alpha predator. I think my favorite, however, is from Godzilla Final War, Ghidorah X, who is, well, he's on the one hand very cool as just Monster X. Then he evolves into Kaiser King Ghidorah. Or is it Kaiser Ghidorah? Yeah, I think it's Kaiser Ghidorah. Basically, he's bigger, more threatening, and the advances in technology made him very threatening. So yeah, I would go with the Final War Ghidorah. Plus, he was pretty much the only unique monster in that movie, even though it is an all-out assault of awesomeness of Godzilla. Preston Cox wondering if Luna Celestia should punish Sven Gallop. Here's the funny thing, it's really not up to the princesses to dictate morality. They often lead by example. I mean, this is sort of the frustration, I think, of a leader. You can't, if you try to make everyone behave a certain way, you may end up getting more resentment than accomplishment. So, in a just society, I think people like Sven Gallop, they may take it for granted, but they rely on the fact that there is a justice within, even if they think they're above it. And hopefully, if Celestia and Luna do a good job of leading, the culture will reflect those values, and Sven Gallop will end up on, well, ostracized for his attitude, even if he can't be held financially or legally accountable. Now, don't get me wrong, La Sven Gallop, or Sven Gallop, the original story that was downright criminal and abusive and quite distressing. So he deserved far worse than Pony Sven Gallop ever got. Let's see here. David's wondering, do I think too many ponies are forgiving for letting Discord, Tempest, or Starlight go free with no punishment, or too harsh with turning Cozy to stone? You know, talking about the concept of justice here, there are standards by which one can gauge things. The first is you punish someone so that they know what they did was wrong. Now that raises a question, though. If at least with Tempest and Starlight, they freely admitted that what they did was wrong. In that case, is a punishment then redundant? With Discord, it's funny, people will tell him what he did was flat out wrong, but it's not always sure if the message is taking with him. Then there's the second idea, that in punishing a guilty party, you are making an example of them for others so they don't emulate. Now, I'll be honest, because Starlight and Tempest are rather exceptional in their crimes, leading an invading army or messing with time, I don't know how much of an example you can set if you're saying to young folk, now remember, when you get your hands on a time-traveling scroll, don't try to ruin the Princess of Friendship. But there's also the argument that that attitude must be dismissed, because the minute you look at someone simply by whether or not you can make an example, you're no longer trying the individual. You're, well, making an example. And it's terrifying how many injustices can be can be excused if you're only looking at the metrics. And so I say, you sent 5 people to the guillotine for jaywalking. Yeah, but have you seen the traffic reports lately? That's the fear, rather exaggerated example, but that is the fear of when you only view things in how they can serve as an example. But the most important topic of justice in this case, talking about those specific characters, a character who's, well, an individual who has committed a wrong may be willing to serve a punishment as a signal to the community that they're ready to rejoin and abide by the codes and standards. And Starlight was willing to pay any price for her wrongdoing. Tempest took up a cause to let everyone know about the Storm King's defeat, but I don't know if she was equally willing to suffer a punishment. Discord really needs to do something to signal his penance to the community. I mean, especially in Cozy Glow and Tyrek and Chrysalis, he should be charged with their reformation over time. Because he brought them together and interfered with them serving out any sentence and possible hope of a reformation, I think it becomes his responsibility. So, I haven't talked about Cozy in all this. I was apparently in a minority opinion, at least of the sources I listened to. A lot of people were horrified that Cozy Glow was turned to stone. Fine with Tyrek and sorry, I received a message just now. No one had any issue with Tyrek or Chrysalis being turned to stone because Chrysalis is a monster. Tyrek has made 3 plays for Equestria and doesn't seem to learn. But Cozy Glow is a child, and this is, well, her second offense. But here's the thing for me. Cozy has shown she's unrepentant for her actions. Therefore, there's no signaling a desire for return. This is not trying to make an example of her to others, but rather the fact that she is a threat. And probably the biggest thing is that she attempted to kill Twilight and the others without hesitance. One of the reasons why there is a legal boundary here in America is the idea that a child may not have full knowledge of the consequence of their actions. And, well, we have something of an arbitrary cutoff point for when by now you should know. There are times when children have been tried as adults because of the graveness of their actions and the argument, were they aware of what this would do? Cozy was fully aware of her actions and their consequences and still had no problem doing it. And so, therefore, I think that her punishment was warranted. When she got sent to Tartarus the first time, I thought, well, I agreed with the judgment, but not the sentencing. There isn't something a little lower key than Tartarus. But after she powered up and assaulted the castle and tried to kill several ponies, nearly caused the apocalypse, then I don't think there's any ambiguity. And it's true, Evangelion, we know so little about Cozy, why she is the way she is, but it can't be helped. Right now, that can't be helped. What I do know about Cozy is she deserved her punishment. And Godzilla brings up an excellent point. Cozy looks like and sounds like a filly, but she may actually be an adult. That we've seen characters like that in fiction before. So I don't know if she may not actually be a filly, but we won't know because that's just the way of it, you know? We've got a new series and, well, speculation for for us bronies to have fanfics. Alrighty, so I have not only reclaimed the artwork I've lost, I've actually gotten further with it. Although maybe I'll tone down this bright spot. Jeez, it looks like shining a spotlight on the dude. Flicky. Almost sounds like an insult, though. Flicky. Hey, Flicky you! That's Sonic and Knuckles having what they consider to be a polite conversation. Alright, let's see here. Now, debating. I believe I will switch gears because I need to draw the background for these characters. I need to reference images of the Sonic Green Zone, and that's something I can build off time. You guys don't need to listen to me rant while I web surf. However, I do still need to download 1 or 2 images for my next idea. My thought here is that I really want to make some videos where I talk about how I vector. The tricks I use, how do I make the backgrounds, how do I make my own character. But to do that, I need to do a screen recording because unfortunately, right now, like I have layers pulled up. And yep, for reasons I don't understand, none of you can see the layers tab. And none of you can see windows that pop up when I bring them. So it's like I'm only giving you half an image of what I do. So it needs to be a full screen recording and with a little narration as I work. But I would like to have a sort of general purpose title card so that I might, be able to signal, this is what I'm working on today. This is the topic. So let's see here. I just need 2 quick pictures. Because I have an idea. In fact, the title card I put together is part of that. Oh, and of course the image I got was a WebP, so I need to convert that to PNG. Why did they create this format? Is it better for websites like lower bandwidth requirements than, say, PNG or JPEG? I will say, as someone who's trying to work with images, it just adds an extra step. I'm sure there's someone more familiar with web coding who could explain it better than I. But that's okay. What font do I use? Oh, champ to stay. What font don't I use? I've got, a library that's triple the size of your average user. And I'll tell you right now, fonts do not come cheap. I mean, just to use one font set can, at minimum, $35. Think about that, $35, good grade. For a font. Oh, now I just received support from Eric Willett. Thank you for your support. Unfortunately, I'm guessing it came through Ko-fi. And for some reason, I don't get those notifications through Streamlabs. I must fix that. Jake the Gacha Alpha and Plushies. So you're an alpha of both Gacha and Plushies. Nice. I am working on a video talking about the designs of each character. The script we'll see about following thereafter. Or a review of the movie. Blue Griffin, congratulations. I hope it was a good movie. Anyway, let's see here. Let's start things up. Back to Illustrator. We're gonna go with a new film and video. How I vector piece. And this is something I will never understand. Oh, but also, well, I'm sure waiting for YouTube to catch up with me here. There we go. Okay, you can see, there's at least one feature that this is showing. This is the artboard that represents the size of a computer screen or a TV screen. It is what I use for almost all my videos. But for reasons I don't understand, there's always this second artboard, which is massive. If I forget to delete this and I try to export a bunch of layers, my computer slows to a crawl. So, right off the bat, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Just get rid of that artboard. Because if I forget, I will regret it later. Let's see here. And just save to base. Be the ace of base. Let's see here. Would I picture Lightning Bliss in Wonderbolt suit? I think she'd actually make it look good. The second fastest rainbow after a certain dash. Let's see here. And let's see here. Champ wondering, what do you think Fluttershy would react to Matt trolling with kindness? She is such an innocent being. I don't think she'd realize I was trolling. And I wouldn't have the heart to tell her. I mean, it's kind of like Dr. Cavaleron and his cronies in that final Daring Do story. I mean, she won over the entire villainy just by being Fluttershy and being, well, a bit naive. But I guess there comes a point with certain characters that even the villains will be like, I cannot take advantage of this. Even I hate myself for doing this. Which is always a bit funny to see. Granted, I think that's something that only works in a children's show. You see that in real life, or, well, not even in real life, in entertainment aimed at an older audience, and it just seems dumber. That's part of the fun of watching a show aimed at a younger audience. You get to remember that ideal. And maybe the expression changes as you get older, but the idea of someone having empathy, I don't think should ever be foreign, no matter what form of entertainment you enjoy, even the dark stuff. I suppose one of the funnier things for me is George R.R. Martin and his view on Jaime Lannister. I mean, Jaime was not a good person at all. And I'm not even talking about the series. I'm talking just from the books that have been published. And yet, he actually has a lot of reflection and a sense of honor because no one's ever 100% good or evil in Game of Thrones. Even the twisted ones have some sympathetic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate Littlefinger, but even he has a bit of a tragic history in how the upper families cast him down or belittled him for his birth. So his resentment, I could see where it came from. It's not just, I was born evil. And Jaime had the supreme misfortune of being born to Tywin Lannister, who, well, himself is kind of a victim of this noble house system. I don't know if many people know this about Tywin. His father was actually regarded as quite the weakling. And Tywin grew up angry at how his family was being treated and viewed. Didn't help when his wife died. Oh, you're right, Trinair. As awesome as Charles Dance is, I won't hold Godzilla against him. I do think Tywin is a fascinating character to observe. No one would want to live with him. Let's see here. Jerry Fluff wondering if you have a favorite taste into 2000s music. What's your top 3 favorite songs from the 21st century? One Step by Back On. Ashes by Embrace. I'm trying to remember if Dragon Force Through the Fire and the Flames was made in the 2000s. Godzilla, you're offering a joke? I'm always eager to hear those. Meanwhile, while I wait on Godzillion's joke, if there's Helsing Ghost wants to know, if there was a time in history or a person from history you could visit or talk to, who would it be and where would you go? I think for me it would be Abraham Lincoln. Because here's something that isn't often regarded. If I remember even a fraction of the history I've heard, Abe Lincoln wasn't a terribly remarkable person before his presidency. In fact, I think there's an argument that he was actually pretty bad as a lawyer. And yet he made some very pivotal choices that influenced our future. Still is. I'd like to know how he viewed his failures, how he viewed his mistakes. One of the things I dislike about history classes is that we tend to omit the struggles of a human in favor of this historical icon narrative. It's like someone says, "Oh, well, you know, Van Gogh changed the genre and converted to abstraction, but at the same time, he defied certain aspects." And it's like, I don't think Van Gogh woke up one day and just decided to do that. I think he had, well, struggles. In fact, the Beyond Van Gogh exhibit that is making its tour in America talks about his failed attempts. Now, where would I go? You know, I know this is going to sound very strange, but if I could go to anywhere in history, I think I would... Going to any fantastic place in the past is one thing. I'd be fascinated by the experience, but a part of me would actually go to any airport on September 10th, 2001, to watch people be able to go right to the gate with minimal security, to watch families reuniting or saying goodbye. A part of me is nostalgic for that carelessness we enjoyed. And I think I just want to remember that before everything changed. Or you know what? How do I put this? Maybe it's arrogant to say everything changed because of a terrible event that happened to the United States, but a lot of things pivoted on that day. And much like Lincoln's decisions, we're experiencing the after effects of that day right now. Here we go. Godzilla 91. What kind of shorts do clouds wear? Thunderpants. Nice. Friend of mine has been sending me just bad jokes as sort of a way of encouraging me throughout. So allow me to read a few of those because I've gotten super serial. What was the turkey thankful for on Thanksgiving? Vegetarians. What did the leftover turkey say? Make me a sandwich. And let's see here. I feel like there was at least one more. Oh yeah. What do you call a haunted baseball park? Field of Screams. Anywho, so I've got my background set up. I've thoroughly offended people's senses of humor, as is my wont. Or now, well, let's see how do I want to tackle this. Silver-Quill needs to be flipped. His expression must change. Open recent files. My Silver-Quill base. Sorry, Inky Links. I guess you haven't seen the movie Field of Dreams yet. But you should. It's a good movie. The book is even better. And let's see here. I need my maniacal laughter. Chapter State. How goes my to-watch list? And look, I tell you the truth, the greatest success in the watch list so far is because Trinary pulled up for me at Ciderfest. He pulled up the first 2 episodes of The Good Place, and we watched them. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just never make progress unless I'm in the presence of friends. But if I get to go to a couple more conventions in 2022, I'm hoping I can make that happen. So yeah, Yes, Sweetie Bloom, I will do my best to see Hamilton, but you know what? It would be fun to watch it with you. Of course, for all I know, you might be singing along with it. I fully respect if that's what happens. Although, I'll tell you true, apparently I guessed the twist of The Good Place even before, with just 2 viewings, and Trinair's like, oh, wait, how did you know that? Hello, Rick James. I'm doing well. I am partially processing at the moment, as I must find a pose. Have I ever been holding anything in my other claw? Ah, yes, the baseball bat. Bat. Baseball bat arm. That looks rather threatening. Hello, Maramil. Wait, is that like 3? Is that a capital I and 2 L's, or 3 L's together? This is why text can be frustrating. I will call you Marmil. So thank you for following, but apologies if I mispronounced that. Oh, champ, I have multiple files of my poses. Oh, that's right, you can't see the layers. How many? Oh, yes. Right now, each pose of Silver-Quill is its own layer. And just in this one file, which is not including costumes, facing the audience head on, and a variety of other poses, there are 405 layers in this one file. Mara M. the Third. Thank you, Sweetie Bloom. Oh, it's just Mara. Well, thank you, Mara. Appreciate the clarification. My bad. But where was I going with all this craziness? Yeet. I have lots of files with Silver-Quill. In fact, one of the first how I vector is to show a trick with layers I only recently learned, so you all don't have to reinvent the wheel, as I've often done rather foolishly. So, not actually going to need the bat in this bat. And plenty of people will say I've got bats in my belfry. So let's see here. Is it too late to give me to Brock Lesnar? Now, Brock Lesnar was the wrestler who broke The Undertaker's winning streak, isn't it? In which case, he is essentially the greatest villain in all of WWE history. Because you don't do that and ever get to turn face again. He's a villain for life. There we go. Silver-Quill, king of making things hard on himself. Sweetie Bloom is objectively correct, which is the best kind of correct. Applause, everyone. Oh, Kelto Studies. This is interesting. You're mentioning Beachcomber of Transformers, I believe, who... he unfortunately had one of the worst episodes of, of G1, the Golden Lagoon. Poor guy will always be associated with that episode, which is not entirely fair, because that was a bad episode. I mean, there's no surer way to make him look bad than having him ducking out on his comrades in a battle, all to go to be in a lagoon paradise that is eventually destroyed, but because in part of his silence. It's a very sad episode, but you feel kind of angry at Beachcomber for making all the wrong decisions. Really? trying to. Well, I'm mostly going by my own reaction. I really didn't like the Gold Lagoon. Very depressing episode, but partly because so much of it. How many episodes did Beachcomber really have? Beachcomber. Now, let's see here. There are other Transformers episodes I wasn't a big fan of. Good lord, the stupidity on display with Megatron's master plan. One, that was not his master plan. That happened in a multi-parter called The Ultimate Doom. Megatron's master plan is blindingly stupid and only works because all the good guys are blindingly stupid themselves. I feel very strongly on this. Discord has two beards? Oh, well, yes, there's his beard, and then here's his Bob Ross imitation. Let's see here. Uter. And let's see. Oh, sorry, I'm remembering the Megatron's master plan. And just, I mean, even if you're a fan of the Phoenix Wright games, you'd have issue with that story. Basically, the Decepticons claim that they've always been the good guys and are brainwashed by the evil Autobots. And the Autobots put up such a pathetic defense, but that people believe the Decepticons right away. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me here. This is the dumbest argument. And then the various ways that the Decepticons' treachery is revealed, it's like, wow, no one thought of that? No one thought to watch a tape all the way to the end? So, yeah, all humans are stupid, Autobots are stupid for going along with this. Megatron got a win he didn't deserve there. We still question why Discord dressed up as George S. Patton in the Season 3 two-part finale? I think that's the Season 4 finale. I didn't question it. He was trying to claim he was part of a strategy. Granted, Trollocs Kingdom, much like Megatron getting an undeserved win because everyone around him is so blindly stupid, Celestia's plans and reactions to events were pretty bad. She really got a bad rap in that episode. Now, also, can I just say that right now Silver-Quill looks like Megamind? I don't think this needs to be reduced. My Bob Ross hair has to be a bit more proportional. Also, I really do need to make it look more like hair because... oh. Megamind. Yeah. Maram wondering, do I make cartoons? I do very, very, very basic animation. I mean, there are genuine cartoonists out there who do far superior work. The most obvious example would be the Hell of the Boss series, which is done by a shockingly small production team with such high quality. But I know some basic keyframing. I also know a person who goes by Keyframe. And I can make little things happen, but mostly I've always felt my strength lies in writing. But there was a tweet recently. It showed media of, there was authors and animators. And in the foreground, the author is going, "It's fine, we can animate anything." And the animator is in the background weeping because they've got to do the actual work. I'm both of those. I come up with these elaborate ideas for my videos, and then I have to make them happen. So I end up cursing myself and my fun idea. And as Sweetie Bloom put it, I'm the king of making things harder on myself. Let's see here. Now wait for part 2 for Hell of a Boss season finale. I'm looking forward to it. It was rather emotional. And it shows, like, the protagonists who are both fun, but also messed up. This is the thing about fiction. It's almost like that neutral territory where we can explore and maybe even celebrate a personality we wouldn't tolerate in real life. I always like to think of Alan Shore. It'd be really impossible to work with him, as he's very smug and sometimes condescending, but also oddly possessing a strong moral core. It's fun to cheer for him in Boston Legal. I wouldn't want to work at a firm with him. Let's see here. Who would win, asked Keldo Studies. Luna and Dinobot versus Nightmare Moon and Dinobot 2. I think I would give it to Luna and Dinobot, but it would require Dinobot to really lean in on Luna and say, stop hesitating, stop holding back. You have a duty to defeat this enemy, and you can't do anything by half measures, because Luna would be really doubting herself. Now, Dinobot 2, meanwhile, is being a clone of the original. He's probably having a hard time figuring out where his noggin's at. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if just as he turned on his creator, he would turn on Nightmare Moon. Dinobot would probably be going after his clone with a certain zeal. Komodo Steel, I have not yet watched Hamilton. And David, I have only seen a few episodes of Hell of a Boss. Right now, the one where they are captured by government agents is one of my favorites, including for the musical. But I need to see more. I'm out of step, and then, well, Has Been Hotel will be getting a full production, which I'm looking forward. Okay. This bot over on Discord want to become famous, buy followers. That is insulting. Let's see here. Pardon me one sec. You may hear me talking to myself as I go into the chat here. Okay, good. It's muted. Let us block this bot. By viewers, by... What crippling lack of confidence must one suffer to resort to that? Because I have this philosophy. Metrics ruin everything. I feel that happens in work. I feel that happens in video games. I think introducing KD spreads was one of the worst things to happen to first-person shooters. And YouTube, this emphasis on views at any cost, is why there are so many awful people getting attention. Champ, do I think mouths or eyes are more expressive? I think eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul. They are what can change the same mouth expression with different eyes can convey a whole different meaning. I don't know if the same is true if you were to reverse that. Same eyes with different mouth expressions. Let's see. Champ, what is the weirdest thing you've seen in school that you could talk about here? Oh my. Weirdest thing. Can't say anything I witnessed was too weird. I mean, I was part of my college was I was in a theater improv club, Guts, Gonzaga University Theater Sports, which if anyone who's thinking of going to Gonzaga or just happens to tune in this podcast, first of all, thank you, or this live stream, but I would say give that a look. It is fun. It is a great way to blow off steam. It's there in a lot of ways, but probably one of the funniest and one of the best times I saw it. There's this game, improv game you play, Translator, where basically there's 3 actors. One speaks English, one speaks a usually fictional or ridiculous language, and the middle person is the translator. Someone did telepathy as a language, and you've never had more fun watching 2 people sit there and look constipated at one another as they convey these messages. And they did such a great job conveying this, the sheer mental stress of conveying these ideas. That yes, they did look constipated, but they also were just doing a fantastic job. It was one of the funniest things I've seen. Ma foi, Zelda fan, I'm impressed by your skills with a gift to make a full cybernetic octopus using just icons. I think that's a cybernetic octopus. Actually, that's probably that's the only way you make something cooler. You got an octopus? Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, now I've got a cyborg octopus. Oh my god! It's like, hey, I've got a My Little Pony. Oh, I love those. Now it's a cyber My Little Pony. It's magic. Jeff, I do remember Metabots. I got a kick out of Metabee. Now, granted, I never got to see the conclusion to Metabots. And if I recall, the manga was kind of depressing in its ending. It just sort of stopped. So, I don't know. Don't know if but I remember Metabots as a pretty fun anime. Probably one of the better takes on the whole battling scenario. Of course, what was it? The Rubber Robo Gang. Probably one of the odder Team Rocket versions out there. But at least they were fun. You know, I've always found it strange. I guess this is because I mentioned 9/11 earlier. While that happened, there was this anime Zoids, specifically Zoids New Century, where they took a war story and adapted it to the Pokemon Fight of the Day format. And there was this villainous group, the Backdraft group. They basically wanted to take Zoid battles and make them more exciting through illegal means. But they were piloting war machines. So when fans processed a terrorist attack by, making the Backdraft group terrorists, some people asked, why are you doing this? And I thought, well, why not? I mean, that's pretty much what the Backdraft would be made for. This whole, we just want to spice things up, seems really dumb. You know, it's like Team Rocket. They're goofballs, but they want to rule the world. That is their ultimate goal. So why is it that the villains wielding full-scale war machines have such low ambition? I rant. As is often my trait. Let's see here. Season 2 of Metabots never came to DVD, only season 1, and the 3rd season was crud. Let's see here. I like Metabots, and you can feel the Pokemon similarities, indeed. Drinking buddy, my ego is always on a rampage. I'm on a rampage. Nope, that won't work. Let's try this. No, that won't work either. I need a little bit of definition to make this look decent. Apparently I also need to get into the group. Sound effects, they're the best. And let's see here, bring that to the forefront. Bring the eye to the forefront. Okay. That's weird. Ah, I know what's wrong. There we are. That's better. I guess I'll need to put you at the top too. Whoop, whoop. Oh, Keldo, I appreciate you think that this looks like a 3D model. I don't think. Still feel like it looks like I've got like some super cranium. Sputnik head. Hit. Pants. Now. Let's see. I just need to darken this up and make it a little blue. There we go. That'll work. And then a gradient of bluishness to keep my quills in order. Ah, it's got little holes in it. Now this I can get just by copying off. I just gotta mess with the gradient a little. So let's see here. My favorite kind of Homestar Runner cartoons. Well, I eagerly looked forward to the Strong Bad emails. It was usually the ones that got everyone involved that were the most fun. I think Strong Bad is in jail. That's my favorite. Because everyone gets a chance to be ridiculous. And, well, Strong Bad going to jail. I especially love when my brother laughed at the scene where Strong Mad breaks them out. I brought you a cake! If you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a search for Strong Bad in jail. You'll like what you see. There we go. I was not liking how hard it was to get that gradient the right angle. Maybe if I made it circular? Nope, that won't work. It's a very sharp fall off. Here, I will need to mask this. That's the answer. Let's see here. Oh, Blue Griffin knows what I'm talking about. It was Biscuit Dough Hands Man. I know it. Yeah, my code Z isn't very strong. But I can get the G-herb done. Let's see. Now this one's going to be a little weird. I think to do this, I'm going to have to put a bunch of strings up, or a bunch of circles, and then make white circles to create that sort of curved dip look. And if there's one thing I know, it's being a dip. Effect blur. Just a little. Okay. Still feel like it looks like my brain is swelling, but let's see what I can do if I add a little clothing and context. Ah, welcome to Kara POV. I didn't see you earlier. Let's see here. Have you played a cool game? Oh, Homestar Runner. I have not played Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. I have, however, watched Let's Plays of it. Mostly because, one, they can do it a lot faster than I can, and I get to sort of enjoy an extra Homestar Runner skit. I think my favorite is when Strong Bad actually becomes the ruler of town. Both how he escapes his home imprisonment, and then goes on to become to oust the king of town. The odd thing is it feels like a natural progression. Of course, then there's also... Yes, that is the same game where everyone basically declares their independence from whatever the heck the King of Town runs. Oops, I did that wrong. Bring it to the forefront. Like so. Godzilla remembers Strong Bad's bottom 10. Songs that try to point out na-nas, hey-heys, and do-dos as legit lyrics. Like Limousine and their oddly titled Feed the Children's. Little Heart, we're all doing well. I hope you're doing well also. Boom. So forgive my silences. I'm still puzzling over. It's a hard thing to make feathers look like hair. What could I do to make this look more hair themed and not brain about to explode? Because I tell you right now, that's not knowledge swelling there. That's hot air. Ah, Elsie, what microphone am I using? Let's see here. This is an older, I believe the term is condenser microphone. Forgive the noise as I rotate it. The mic I'm using right now is a Sennheiser E835 condenser. The mic I use for my narration is a Rhodes N1, which is in a little soundproof cubby. That, well, I can't use that one and talk to and see all your comments and work on the screen. So, you know, give and take. Boop. Change the color to make it a wig, Kirsten. I like your thinking. But if that be the case, yes, I definitely like your thinking on that. Whoops. Let's see here. One does not simply copy Bob Ross without adding a little bit of their own flourish. So, what's a crazy color I could use for a afro? Or is that an afro? Is that what I can really call it? It looks more like a gigantic Tribbles trying to eat my brain. Blue. Yeah, let's run. First off, let's get. If it's a wig, then there needs to be a visible, quote-unquote, hairline. And let's try to match it. Whoop. Let's try to match it up here. Red, royal blue, rainbow. Oh, Kinesu of Dragons. I think you have the right idea. A rainbow wig. Oh, now we're cooking with bizarre gas. I like your thinking, people. Let's see. Now I was thinking of Bob Ross because I was planning on doing this. From what I understand, he was a good guy, but there's this big battle over his copyrighted image between his estate and a person who helped put the show together. I mean, I've seen Bob Ross like bobbleheads or Fun Pop. Was it Funko collections? But none of the money goes to his estate from those sales. And I think that doesn't seem right. I could appreciate if he just wouldn't want anyone arguing over his image. But I feel like he'd also want his family to get some support, have that income, even just a portion of it. It's not an either or. I don't know. Much like Sonic and the brouhaha over the characters in the Archie comics, copyright continues to be a net loss very often. It's like you have these really great ideas and these really creative expressions, but because everyone's arguing over who gets the money, sometimes those creations feel like they're going to be lost. I will point to Marvel and Sony and Spider-Man as an example. All right. Oh, forgive me a moment. Stretching my arm. Let's see. Evangelion's wondering, after the Generations comic, would it be all right if IDW or the My Little Pony franchise took a break from comics? They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now, granted, when I poke around online, usually I see the most negative reactions to the comics. So I don't know the fandom interpretation. I know the negative interpretations. I think a break would be good, however. Sometimes you need to settle, let the new series gain some momentum, and maybe use that time to scout out people to make the stories. I enjoyed a lot of the work of IDW. Season 10 struggled with both the COVID delay, human malware delays, and but also continuity and show canon were steady obstacles. I'm wondering what could we learn from that struggle to take away some of the frustration elsewhere. Kamodra, you don't like pies, period? Like any pie? Meat pie? Beef pie? Key lime pie. Oh, I'm a sucker for key lime pie. It's one of the few tart things I really enjoy. Oh, Cherry Fluff. Well, you missed me trying to set up a Bob Ross look, but the usual Silver-Quill colors weren't cutting it. If anything, it looked like my brain was swelling and was about to go all scanners. So, let's see here. I had a picture of Mayor Mare with a rainbow wig. That might be a helpful bit right there. Yep. Just scrolling through. Sorry, you're only seeing the strobe. I apologize if it's causing anyone a headache. There we go. But yeah, colorophobia right here. So I'll keep the Bob Ross wrinkles, but I'll add some of these twirls. You know what? Let's get Rainbow Dash in on this, because if there's going to be a rainbow, I'm imitating the best. And I've also run through my music, apparently. It's funny how that works. That's usually a sign. Wind it down, Silver. Wind it down. Everything is canon, not everything is true. An interesting perspective, Inquisitor. I don't know. For me, it doesn't matter if the comic is canon so much as is it well written? Is it interesting? I much prefer the King Sombra of the comics to the campy cackling of the Sombra in the show. I can't say I enjoyed his redemption in the comics quite so much. But My Little Pony always seems to really struggle with the concept of redemption. I think because it's always got to be done within the span of one arc, that a character doesn't get to really struggle with something for a while. What was it? Saw screenshots of Zuko and Iroh and their reconciliation, and you think of the redemption of Prince Zuko over the course of the series and his fall. That's because it's one of, I think, highly celebrated because they had the whole series to work with it, to wrestle with it. Redemption's not an easy thing to pull off. And to be honest, I've grown very tired of sacrificing oneself to atone. I just finished much delayed Spider-Man Miles Morales yesterday, which features redemption, sacrifice, and it's like, oh, wow, I was, a while ago, I tweeted about Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I was saying, oh, these two seem like a good couple, and then I realized this is a Spider-Man game. Oh, this will end in tears. Because it don't matter which Spider-Man, ain't no Spider-Man getting a break. Here we go. Let's shuffle the music for just a little bit more. Every character has their own unique reason. Well, and every person is the hero of their own story. Some folks tell themselves they're the hero, they're doing the right things. Others don't even try to justify it's right. It's what's needed. There's so many reasons. In some ways, while My Little Pony can often play with someone who's just rotten to the core, I think there is something to be said for a character who's more fleshed out. Starlight Glimmer's redemption, very swift. I think very hard to root for in some cases. Again, because you wonder, well, is there any consequence to her actions? But she thought she was doing the right thing. She actually had her own philosophy. It was flawed, but at least she had a reason. You know, there's something I forgot to mention when I was talking earlier about justice. While not necessarily tied into the make an example out of every wrongdoer, there is sort of that question, well, she betrayed Equestria, brainwashed ponies, imprisoned other ponies, and yet, from the outside perspective, she seems to get rewarded for her actions. She becomes Twilight's pupil, and in doing so becomes eventually leader of an influential school. It's like, wow, is that what being a villain gets you? Because sign me up. It'd be very hard to explain to someone, oh no, you don't fully get it. Here's what really happened. You'd have to have a first-hand account. The rules of Pie Fight Club is you do not talk about Pie Club. And the second rule of Pie Club is you do not talk about Pie Club, exactly. Whoop, not that one. There we go. I do love this dividing tool. Makes things so much less complicated than if I had to draw this whole blessed thing in separate parts, all coinciding. Yes, I think this will work quite nicely. I need only mask off a little bit to go within the lines. Yes. Let's see here. What do you think of the Dark Lord character who do terrible, awful things, but justifies their actions with the whole never my fault rhetoric? Honestly, that sounds like a child's excuse. At some point, a Dark Lord... I mean, mostly when I hear Dark Lord, I'm either thinking of Voldemort, or Darth Vader, or Sauron. Now, two of those three didn't really... I mean, okay, part of the frustration with the prequels is that Darth Vader did sound like a petulant child. Oh, what was the... There's a book, Gardens of the Moon, I think. By Steven Erikson. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe it was called Gardens of the Moon. There's this character, and basically he is haggard by war, a veteran of a very terrible war. And basically, I really don't want to give away his fall, but it shows that he knows he's slipping and losing himself, but he's so burnt out and disillusioned by how people basically squandered the peace he and his army won, that he has no qualms about becoming the Dark Lord, a Dark Lord style figure. It's a very well done story. Then in contrast, right after that, I read Arthas, because I was curious about more Fall from Grace stories. That book, well, it's a novelization of the Warcraft story around the Lich King, and that didn't grip me. I think that worked better as a video game. Am I going to have a rainbow beard? Oh, you are all filling my mind with such silly possibilities. I mean, I didn't come into this stream intending to ape Mayor Mayer's costume, but here we are. And, you know, how can I say? I remember Bob Ross had this voice that could quell any storm. It was almost kind of zen to listen to him, even if you weren't painting. But, again, if you can't have a good laugh at the things you enjoy. But here, we must correct the coloring on this, too. Yes, okay, this looks much better. This looks like a genuine wig as opposed to that brain swell from earlier. So thank you, everyone, for your feedback and thoughts, because you're making this work better. Except for this section where the blue swallows it. I need... Options are to darken... Yes, I think I will darken what's over the blue and leave the rest its own color. Just darken that up just a sec. No, sorry, David, I have not yet watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, though because it is so celebrated, I've heard plenty of commentaries on its means of storytelling. I did have the misfortune to watch the Last Airbender movie, which, well, you can't take that much storytelling and compress it to just 2 hours. You can make any number of jokes about the production, but I think that's at the heart of it. Almost too grand an ambition. Plus, M. Night Shyamalan, he's made really good movies. I just think he's been put in too high a pedestal for his early successes. I mean, geez, I even watched Glass, and I wasn't as... I didn't think it was as good as The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable. Split was really good. I don't know, I guess it takes a special... I wonder what it takes to really get Shyamalan's best. I feel like it has to be a unique convergence of factors. Some of them not even in his own control. I can't say he just does well with Bruce Willis right out of the bat, even though he's in a lot of really good Shyamalan movies. Sombra's first introduction of Sombra was good, if not following through on the build-up of the Intimidation. Bringing him back was a mistake. Oh, I see what you're saying, Kirsten, sorry. Here's the funny thing. I do prefer the more intimidating Sombra that was simply left as sort of the dark image at the borders of this peaceful empire, and his presentation in the comics. there is also still a part of me that enjoys the campy laughter. Not my favorite, but not unenjoyable. But if you're trying to bring back everybody, I don't know. I mean, sometimes a character is better left a myth. Makes me wonder how this Boba Fett show coming out will fare, as Boba Fett was a character who excelled in fans' imagination more than anything. I mean, even Star Wars fans make fun of how he went out in Return of the Jedi. For further example, I encourage you to see the Robot Chicken Star Wars specials. Let's see here. Favorite kind of beans, Champ to stay. I've never been a big beans guy. I don't know. I guess black beans are fine. Can't say I'm really a bean fan, though. I usually get like a chicken. If I get a burrito, it'll have fajitas and skip the beans. So now I'm sharing my diet with you guys. My food intake. Honestly, I was like, this is probably why you come. Not for Silver-Quill's artistic skills or his banter. Let's see what he had for lunch. Inquiring minds want to know. Really? We debated beans? Are you sure we weren't just tooting our own horn? Kirsten, shepherd's pie is your favorite. Oh yes, shepherd's pie is delicious. But that's like a dinner. A shepherd's pie for dinner and a key lime pie for dessert. Honestly, I feel like that's so rich. Any dietitian would look at me and say, "You crazy?" But oh, what a way to go. Sorry, I think it's a sign I need to wrap up the stream soon. I'm getting hungry. And let's see here, just one more loop. Right, yeah. Whoops. Whoops. I love that it's just almost automatic now. Hedgehog, I do not want to be made into lunch. I want to enjoy a lunch. I'm not going to enjoy it if I'm the main course. Although, I will admit my spirit would laugh if someone were to actually choke on me and have to have this big old production. It's like, even made into a main ingredient, I still spread chaos. I've made Cherry Fluff hungry. So there you go. My evil plan of rainbow afros and bean talk has had a unique outcome. Truly, I think this might be a stream for the ages. I wonder if I should, this is all going to be a base for thumbnails. I wonder if it would make sense to have different silver expressions on each one. There we are. That up. So now it might actually make sense to have this wig be even bigger. Just for sheer madness. He knows Ronnie Buck, Battleship, Agincourt, and has been in his debates before. Yeah. Battleship. Are you acquainted with Ronnie Buck? You tend to have same Friday times. Yes, that's one of the struggles. I mean, there are times where I'd like to be on one of Brony's debates or, just join them for some games. But I also want to keep to my streaming. So, it is a struggle. Yes. Bronny, I had the pleasure of seeing in person at Everfree Northwest. He came by and especially one got to record some of his King Sombra humor, which I find enjoyable, and also helped me break down my my vending table, which I'll say in the aftermath of well, FedEx basically using my shipment as hockey practice. I think my vending style will undergo some changes. I don't know if y'all saw the tweet where I got a lost package back, and it had been beaten up pretty bad. It even had a huge gash in the side. Thankfully, everything contained therein was in bags. And the shipping party with whom I worked, they were wise enough to wrap it in saran wrap, or shrink wrap. You didn't leave me behind, sweetie. What are you talking about? Oh, Champ say, if I could pick any Pokemon to be Pikachu to my Ash, what Pokemon? It would immediately be Growlithe. Fire Dog. Fire-themed dog. It's like the best of all worlds, and I love dogs. So, yeah, no question, no hesitation. Growlithe followed by Arcanine. I'm not against him evolving. It does always strike me odd at how some of Ash's Pokemon just never want to evolve. Although I guess the only thing is that if I'm like giving an Arcanine like a ear rub, and you know how dogs do that little leg kick when you hit that perfect spot, would his fire become uncontrollable at that moment? Because that could lead to some comedic moments. Ah, yes. Well, James... See, this is why I can't dislike James, even if he is one of the villains. He had a pet Growly. Growly the Growlithe. I could never hate someone who has that pet. And the nice thing is Team Rocket really dances that line well of being the villains, but also likable freestyle. Let's see, Bob Ross likes to roll up his sleeves, I believe. Yep. Ah, well, we'll continue this process, because it's just about the top of the hour. What's this now? Oh, well, that's sweet. That's nothing. You were getting heavy boxes up there. The only flaw in that plan, I think, was that I had the key. Honestly, my friends are often my caretakers at a convention because I try to stop and talk to anyone who wants to talk, and they keep me on track, especially if I have to get to a panel. Safi was looking out for me at a BronyCon. Sweetie was looking after my health and dietary needs at the most recent Everfree Northwest. And I think all my friends kind of roll their eyes. It's like, oh, he's talking with people again. Silver, get over here. We need you. So they're looking out for me, and I appreciate it. But I also don't want to I don't want people to feel like I'm giving them the brush off, like they're not worth talking to. That's a horrible idea to convey. But if I ever do seemingly shortchange at a convention, I'm sorry. It's not that you're not worth talking to. It's that I get pulled in 50 directions at once sometimes. This is true of many things in my life. Oh, Trinair, you think my hotel room was a chaotic mess? Nonsense, you have not seen the real McCoy. The home field advantage. I have made progress in cleaning an organization, but the chaos always seeks to creep back in. You knoweth not of all that can reside. Ah, but anyway. Yes, I am most definitely hungry now, so I think it's time to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. and just, well, go get some din din and have everybody relax. So everyone, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's a week, well, we had Halloween last weekend, which was quite the hoot and energetic. This weekend, I think you might want to just take easy, take it slow, mellow, or maybe I'm just talking to myself here. But either way, have a wonderful weekend and just the best time. I'll look forward to chatting with you all again, and we'll see what kind of craziness this Rainbow Afro can bear. So thank you all for your questions, your comments, and your thoughts. Be safe and be well. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.